Okay, so who wants a free trip to Hawaii? That would be us. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What's That?
Sister Chat.
That is right. And we're so happy to have you guys back with us for another episode. And y'all, I was doing some research because y'all know I love to travel, and COVID has kept a lot of us in the house for almost a year. Okay. If not in the house, particularly, we haven't been on a plane. Okay. And so as I was doing this research, I actually happened by this article, right? And it was actually by CNN. So I think it's real, y'all. I think it's real. Okay. So apparently CNN is reporting that Hawaii is giving out free FRE round trip tickets to anybody who is a remote worker and would like to spend some time living in Hawaii for at least 30 days. And literally they will pay for your flight there. So first of all, just off of that, and I know, CC, I sent you the article and you read it, but girl, just off of that, how you feeling about that? Would you take that offer up? What's your first thoughts when you heard that?
Well, my first thought when I saw it was, hey, we might be going to Hawaii, right? Because I don't know if everybody out here knows this, but my husband and I actually left the US 5.5 years ago now. It's been a minute. And so we do the whole digital nomad thing, right? I've been working online for a little while now. And at first glance, I got really excited about this because, this is actually a trend right now. A lot of countries are trying to entice people who, are working remotely to come to their place. And so they're creating these visas that make things a lot easier. So like for my husband and I, we typically have to go through a whole process with either some sort of retirement visa or some sort of long-term visa so that we know we can stay. Because I'm not trying to have to hop around every 3 months. I know there are a lot of expats out there that do that, but that's not my jam. So the one blessing of COVID, or one of many, there's been plenty, right? But one of the blessings of COVID has been so many people trying to entice us to go to their places, to their tropical paradises, to come and, put money in their economy. So at first glance, I was all in. I read the article, my opinions might have shifted.
So, yes. So now this article, we should say, they do tell us in the article that, this program is geared mostly towards Hawaiian people who are Hawaiian, who were born in Hawaii, and sort of trying to get them to come back to their homeland. However, it is open. And I think right now they are taking applications even, and they're going to accept 50 people on the first round, and then it's going to be rolling after that. But like I said, it is a program. So wait, there's more. Right? So there is a small catch to this. In order for you to get your ticket paid for, your round trip ticket paid for, you have to commit a couple of hours a week to volunteering and putting back into the Hawaiian community. So now you are also, not only are you working your regular 9-to-5 remote job or whatever that might be. For some people, remote jobs are not 9-to-5. So you might just be working your 9-to-10, whatever, 1 hour or whatever you're doing. But then you're being asked to go out and volunteer in the Hawaiian community. So with that being said, Cece, would you still take up this offer?
That's a no for me, dog. So, and I don't want people to think I'm heartless. Look, I am literally a licensed clinical social worker. I have worked in nonprofits. I have given back. I have served. I have been doing community service since I was a kid. Our mom was so into that. That was her jam. And so it's not that I am someone who is self-centered and not wanting to give back. And although they report their COVID numbers are low and all of these things, look, the whole point of me coming to Hawaii in this instance, or whatever country it is that they want me to come to, is so that I will put my dollars into your economy. That's the benefit of having an expat culture, because you're not paying me. I make my money from some other source. So I'm not taking jobs away from your local workers, right? So you don't pay me, but I spend my dollars here, right? I pay rent, I pay utilities, I go and I buy groceries, I go and I buy things that make me happy, and I spend money. And that's the benefit of having me here. And requiring me to spend my time, which is much more valuable than dollars. I mean, I contribute to causes every single month financially, but asking me to be required, to mandate me to serve in some capacity in the middle of a pandemic is a no. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. I'm not gonna, I barely leave my house now. I'm not going to Hawaii, like hanging out on the beach while I'm doing some work, enjoying some of that, putting money into the economy all day. But, my time is very valuable, and the amount of money I could pay or the amount of money I could contribute versus the amount of time I have to contribute are two different things. And right. So I'm not down for the mandatory volunteer work. Sorry. What you think? I am curious what you think about this, girl.
Well, first of all, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, snap, get my bags. I'm on my way. I'm moving to Hawaii. Like, I was ready to go because, I'm an artist. We've been working from home a lot. And also I'm a graphic designer. So, we're always, I can work from anywhere really. So I was like ready to go. Okay. And I was just telling Shells like, yo, I've been like literally crying all week because I'm so sick of being stuck. Like, I want to go somewhere. I want to travel. Like, I was telling my friend the other day, like, I feel like grass is growing under my feet. And I don't like that. Like, so I'm ready to go. However, I tend to agree with you when it comes to I don't want to be forced. I don't want to feel like I'm forced to help someone, like, or to help a community. Like, in New York, I'm already like constantly helping a community that I care about and I love deeply. And, every week we go out and give free groceries with the Black Lady Theater. We go out and give free groceries to the neighborhood, and, we gave out over 100 hot meals the other day, which was amazing. So like, I'm doing that work already. And I'm sure that there's some place in Hawaii where I could continue to feed the people, because I feel that that's really close to my heart. But I don't know, like, if it's like, it feels like a weird exchange for me. Like, like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like true,
Right. And how do they regulate this? Like, if I miss some hours, are they throwing me on a plane and kicking me out? Like, what does this even look like? I really feel you, because you and I both, we've done so much work in our communities. It's something that we do out of the kindness of our heart. The moment, though, that doing volunteer work or giving back or even donating something feels like an obligation, I feel like it's no longer its intended use. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to feel obliged.
I totally agree. But now what if the rules were that you had to spend at least, because also Hawaii is pretty expensive to live in. Like, yeah. It's more expensive than New York and LA. I've lived in New York, I've lived in London. It's more expensive than London. It's very expensive, right? Okay. So, okay, but what if the rules were you didn't have to volunteer, but you had to spend, say, like $1,200. I'm throwing out a random number, $1,200 or $1,500 a month in order to stay there. Like, would you move on those pretenses? Like, would you be like, okay, I gotta hustle, or like, well,
$1,200 on what though, right? Because Hawaii is expensive, and I feel like you're gonna spend $1,200 there anyways. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of plants. Sharice and I happen to be plant-based.
Right.
So.
But right then we would be forced, because like say you move into a house, right, that has a beautiful garden and you can eat from the land, but you're forced to buy $1,200 in groceries. You know what I mean? Because like I'm just being facetious
Yeah,
here.
I don't spend $1,200 on groceries in a month at all. That's way outside of my budget. So that said, you know what? You have to put receipts that you're spending at least $2,000 in our economy every month or something of that nature. That wouldn't bother me as much, right? Because I am going to buy groceries. I'm going to have somebody come and clean my house. I've been doing that here locally in Columbia, right? I'm going to have somebody probably come and cook because I like to have somebody do that a couple of times a week, right? I'm going to have to go and buy things for my daily life. And I have to pay rent and I have to pay utilities and I'll have a cell phone plan.
But I specifically left out rent.
These things that I would be doing anyways.
Right.
Right. But rent is a part of it, right? The reality is at the end of the day, every dollar I spend locally is a dollar that I'm not spending locally somewhere else, right? I pay rent here in Colombia. I'm not paying rent in the US economy.
Yes.
Right? So if I chose to pick up and leave this country, they're going to lose my dollars every month. And it's going to go to the next place. And if Hawaii were the next place, extra money coming in, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I'm like, cause it like the article is like it's a little bit I won't say confusing, but there's like two sides of the coin in the article. So one side of the coin talks about how Hawaii wants to inject more expat money into their economy. And then the other side of it says that the actual organization who is like backing this program, Movers and Shakers, and I hope I'm saying, I was like, is it Movers and Shakers? No, I think it's Movers and Shakers. Look like Shakers. The Movers and Shakers. Their whole point is to sort of help the local community. So like that's what they're looking for, people who are like want to come and serve the community. So if they're go ahead.
I just think, I mean, what does it mean to help the community, right? Because this year has been, financially jarring, emotionally jarring, culturally jarring. I mean, it has impacted so many areas of society. And I get it, right? Especially like if I put my social worker hat on, like I really get it, right? You want people who are going to come, they're going to serve, and blah, 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 blah. But what's going to make the biggest impact is me and a bunch of other people coming in and putting a cash infusion in a cash-strapped place, because every place is cash-strapped, right? Every economy was hit. If you shut down for any period of time, you took a financial hit. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up in this idea of service and helping and all of these things that we don't realize that money can help. Money can take things even further.
Money is a huge resource and a huge tool, and it helps in so many ways. Honestly, like that's what actually helps everything. Like, and for a lot of these places that are looking to bring people a lot of times for free or very low cost, it's because that they've lost a huge part of their economy, which is tourism, the tourism industry. I mean, Hawaii, I don't have the exact numbers right in front of me, but Hawaii, everybody knows, like, you're going there on vacation. You are going as a tourist most of the time, right? So like to lose all of that, that revenue is huge. I was just watching something from Barbados, which, our grandparents are from Barbados. So I'm looking at it and they're like, they've got these ladies dancing, welcoming people off the plane. It's like 3 people coming off the plane and they've got these masks on. And they're like, come to Barbados, like, please. Like, but a couple of months ago, you couldn't get into Barbados. Like they shut down their borders completely. And I even know somebody who's been stuck in Trinidad since March. Like, you know what I mean? Because they've closed the borders down. So a lot of these, especially these smaller islands, they have suffered so much in terms of the tourism, the economy the revenue that they get from the tourism industry, that it's like guys, we know what you really want. You want people to come here and spend some
You want the dollars. You want the money. You want the money, and you want to be able to use that money. Now, if your government wanted to get fancy and create some legislation that said that, you know, the dollars that we're bringing in from these expats we're bringing in, or these people we're bringing back home, we're gonna redirect that to social programs or something like that, I'm game. I think that would be very smart. But I love that you brought up Barbados. I want to say Barbados is one of the countries that also put out a long-term visa option for people to come to their country. I think theirs is a year, right? And this is huge for expats, where you're trying to find some way to stay someplace for longer than 3 or 6 months. Most countries, after 6 months, you got to bounce, right? And so they're competing with Hawaii in this sense, like, come to us and you can come and you can work with us on the beach. You can live with here for a year and you can help put some cash infusion. And they're not saying you have to come and donate your precious time on top of it. And so I think that that's one of the things that people are going to have to realize. You're competing for resources. And the more limitations you put on that, or the more requirements you put on that, the less likely someone is to pick you. Jason and I have actually been looking at some countries in Eastern Europe that are doing some similar things that are making it easy for people like us who travel and you know, are sort of digital nomads-ish. And because they're just more attractive, and they don't say, hey, you've got to give your precious time. You know?
I think that's a huge thing with this particular program. And not saying not to do it. Like, guys, if you want to do this, like, go and do it. Like, please.
Yes.
Because honestly, like, people need help out here. Some of us, we need our peace of mind. And sometimes you get that when you're sitting on a beach in Hawaii. So go and get that. Okay. I'm not mad at that. But I think one part of this program that is a little bit, you know, like, hard is that they're specifically targeting people who work remotely and then telling those people how to use their time. And a lot of the times, people who work remotely, that's the reason that they do it, because they're not trying to have nobody tell them what to do with their time. So it's a little bit of like, it's a little of an oxymoron, a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
and sometimes your time doesn't feel like your own. So before my husband and I moved out of the US, I actually had been working from home. I had been working for a large Fortune 500 company, and they allowed me to go home. My last year and a half in the US, I was working in my PJs, like what everybody's experiencing this year, I have been doing for the last 6-7 years now, right? So that was the life for me. But sometimes when you work from home, that time sort of bleeds, right? Oh, you know, I can take one more call. I can write this one last email. Oh, I might get up a little bit early. Oh, I might as well go check my email. And the things start to bleed. And your time, I mean, you have to be this is probably a whole different conversation. You have to be very mindful of how you're using your time. And sometimes because you're at home, you're like, well, is it that big of a deal if I, you know, stay a little bit later doing this other thing or whatever? And that's already taxing on your time. And then now you have an external force saying, I want more of your time. And your time is your most valuable resource. It's your most valuable. So that's really my only thing. And I'm with Sharice here. She says, look, if this is something you want to do it. 100% agree. Like, get out there, like, go and see this world, explore. If you can get a free ticket to Hawaii and you can afford to live there and you want to serve, and this sounds like the ideal program for you. I mean, it was designed for somebody, right? There's someone out here who's been calling for this type of an opportunity so they can hop on it. And if that's you, we want to hear about it. We want to hear that you've gone out there and you're living your best life in Hawaii. But the other thing that I want to say to you is that it's okay to do a little bit of research and find the thing that's going to best serve you, right? Like, sometimes we hear about something, we go, oh, let me go do that. And we don't think about how it might impact us and if it's the best possible option for us. Sometimes we just get so excited and we run and we jump. And I'm sort of like what's the right word for researchy types, right? Like I'm an owl in that that bird one personality test, whatever. I'm that person who's going to research and make sure. And I just want you to make the best choice because
you're a logical buyer.
I'm a logical, I am. I'm also an emotional buyer in a lot of ways, but I'm very logical too, right? I sort of blur those lines, especially now because it's something I kind of work on intentionally. But I just say there's competition in the marketplace. So if this sounds attractive to you, you can start doing a little bit of research and saying, you know what other countries might I be able to go to? What requirements do they have? How long could they stay? I looked at Barbados and I said, well, I don't want a year in Barbados because I don't want to be in a Caribbean island during hurricane season. That's just a no for me at this stage in my life. But that would be a good place for me, possibly in the winter. So those are things you want to think about. You want to think about how this will impact your day-to-day life. What places would you actually want to live in? What the climate would be like? What is the cost of living in those places? So ask the questions and then go out there and do the research, because if this isn't for you, there might be something else that is.
Right, exactly. And also, like, think about too, like, your heritage and stuff, because I mentioned both Barbados and Trinidad, both places that our our lineage comes from. And actually, if we wanted to, I have a client of mine that keeps telling me, girl, you need to go and get your dual citizenship, you need to go and get it. Because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really trying to move to Barbados forever, but if I need to, at least I can. You know what I'm saying?
Second passport. That so second passport.
I know, right? There's so many ways for us to, to travel and see the world. And I think a lot of the times, especially for, I think millennials are starting to hook on to it a little bit more now. But I think for a lot of people, we think, oh my God, it's so hard to travel. It costs so much. How does anybody actually go, to these places and live there for this long? Like, guys, it's not that hard. It takes a little bit of research. It takes a little bit of time. It's really not that expensive either. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It can be, depending on your lifestyle, what you choose. But it doesn't have to be. And so it's really just about, like, figuring out what you want to do, writing it down, making a plan, and then doing your research to find out exactly what's going to work for you and your lifestyle. And that's it. Like, guys, we can do this. Okay.
Thanks.
So, and if this program isn't for you, but you do still want to go to Hawaii, y'all, Hawaii got tickets for less than $500 right now, round trip. So that is not even bad, because I know they used to be like $800 and $900, because I got a friend that lives in Hawaii and has invited me so many times. And I'm like, yo, right now, I might just have to go visit her. Okay, because $500, $400 is not bad for a round trip ticket to Hawaii from New York City. That's from New York. And so, like, that's not even from LA. I can't imagine what it is from California or somewhere a little closer on that side of the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on now. Come on. Get that. Anyways. Well, do you have anything else to say about this topic, Cece?
The only other thing I want to say is, what do you think? Let us know if this is something that you would be down for. Do you think that it makes sense to have people tie in the whole community service element? Like, we could be totally wrong here. You don't have to agree. Let us know down in the comments.
Please do let us know. And for anybody who is interested in traveling, I'm just going to do a random shout out to one of my clients, Torley Travels. She helps you create your itineraries for your travel. So you can go to her website, which is torleytravels.com, TORLY travels.com. And you'll also get to see some of the work that I did, because I designed her website. So boom, there you go. And so check her out and get some help with, figuring out how to do this travel thing, because it's important. It's important for you to see the world, and it's important for us to see you. So thank you so much for joining us for another episode of What's That?
It's the chat.
We'll see you guys later, and we'll see you in the comments. Don't forget